want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Don't label us left or right. Our American. Not looking for a wall, but we came to fight. Our American. Somebody's gotta stand up. Stand up. Somebody's gotta do what's right. We're rising 'cause we're fed up. Got our house in order and got yours inside.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm back. What am I hearing? Oh, hold on a second here. I gotta fix this real quick. Alrighty. I'm back. Had people worried here. No, I was coming back. It wasn't a big deal. Just had some personal stuff to take care of yesterday, and I couldn't be here. So there you go. I'm here today, and there we go. So, wow, how much stuff is Biden going to mess up? This is amazing stuff. It really is. You think about it. Joe Biden gets in week ago today. Was cheated, of course, and the whole thing. Oops, I better not say that because I'm going through Facebook too, but it is what it is. I don't really care what Facebook thinks. And like I told people, if for some reason I'm not on Facebook, they kick me off, then there are other avenues to go through. You can go to the website, superdaveshow.com. You can go through MeWe, Gab, DLive. There's a few places now. So, once some of us figure out how to work this out, some of us people that aren't as techy as others, but I'm pretty good at it. We'll get it. But anyway, after the supposed voter fraud, it's funny even saying that. It's really interesting. What in the world? Well, we know what the Democrats are trying to do, and this is why everyone watching this show needs to take this seriously. The Democrats aren't doing this against Trump and the establishment. You're going, what? Yeah, they are. No. They're doing against all of us, not just Trump. And anybody thinks differently is doesn't have a clue what's going on. You really don't. This is about us. They're trying to destroy us. They want everybody to think like the people they've had pushing the socialist agenda in all the schools. And if that's okay with you, then I don't know what to tell you. I'm really disappointed. But anyway, by the way, the phones are working. Just want to make sure you know that. Make sure. Yep, phones are working. So if you want to call in, you're welcome to. Give people a little time to log on here, and we'll get to some good stuff here. Just to remind everybody, this Saturday, and if you haven't let me know, I'm really disappointed, but this Saturday at 1:30 p.m. in Arnold at the VFW, it's on the it's on the Real Republicans sites, groups. Hey, by the way, Real Republicans... excuse me, Real Republicans is back up where you can give comments again. So there you go. Somebody trying to get a hold of me here. Let me double check. Oh, some people like to text me. Okay. Well, I tell you what, we're gonna have a really great deal for those of you that need a CCW. And when you show up on Saturday, we'll show you what we're talking about. But when you find out, you're just going to go, "Wow, that's awesome! It's awesome." So we're gonna give you a deal. What is it? How they say it? Make you a deal you can't refuse. I made him a deal he can't refuse. That's it. No, we're gonna make you a deal, and you're gonna like it, and you'll probably want to do it. So to get your CCW. And my friend Carl is certified to do all this stuff, and so when you show up, we'll give you an idea how it's going to work. You have to pay something, but the good part is that Carl he's an instructor. That's what he does, but he loves what we're doing here with Real Republicans, and I wish everybody did. A lot of people talk, but they're not following through. We'll get there, but he's going to donate everything to Real Republicans. That's quite a deal. That's quite a deal. So if you don't have your CCW, he'll help you get it, and you'll love every minute of it. So, you got it's helpful to have it. In Missouri, you don't have to have it, but for most people, it's a very good idea if you do have it. It just is. And you may learn something. Carl's a good trainer. He used to be a sniper. So, anyway, I just want to let you know. So show up at 1:30, and we'll give you the information, and we'll get it all worked out. But for those of you that don't have it, it's a great deal, and you'll be helping Real Republicans at the same time, and you can't beat that. I mean, really, you can't beat that. So good for him. Thanks a lot, Carl. We appreciate that. I hope I said that right. Okay. Joe Biden has eliminated all fracking on public lands. You can't do it on private. Wouldn't be surprised if he didn't try that. All the jobs, all the drilling on public land, can't do it. Stop the Keystone Pipeline. That's 20,000 jobs. And so many other things he's done. Right now, he is at a net loss of 70,000 jobs already. And that's to please so many of the environmentalists that have no clue about anything. If anyone thinks an environmentalist really knows what the hell they're talking about, they are wrong. They don't have a clue. And and I'll start with the forest in California. They allow those forests to just have dead wood all over the place. They don't clean them up because they don't want to hurt the animals. I guess they like them barbecued instead. Because when they do catch on fire, it just doesn't destroy the animals. It destroys everything around there. The houses, all that stuff. But the environmentalists say, well, leave it alone. Let nature do its thing. Well, nature's doing its thing. It's burning the damn places down. But you notice if you say that as president, when President Trump said it, they would come after him with these environmentalist nutcases trying to tell everybody why they should leave it alone. I mean, it's so nonsensical. It just is. It's crazy. And for me, I watch this stuff and it's like, are you kidding? I'll tell you someone I really admire, Curt Schilling. He knocks the cowards after missing the Baseball Hall of Fame. Former Red Sox pitcher Curt Schilling said he was at peace after failing to receive the required votes to be inducted into Baseball Hall of Fame. And let me tell you why he didn't. Because he's a Trump supporter. It's really a sad time when you've got these nuts on the left. They turn around and they say, if you worked in the Trump administration or anything, I mean, it's going anywhere. If you supported Trump, you can't get elected. Is that really the country we want to be in? This is sick. I mean, this is absolutely sick. That's why I said whatever happened to free speech. And here's where the left is nutso. They're telling Biden to go after Trump because they want to make sure Trump never gets to be president again. And after he does all that stuff, then Biden is dividing the country by saying, well, we have this many people in the United States. We have 75 million that we don't give a damn about, but we're going to unite the country. Sounds really good, doesn't it? On Facebook, Schilling shared a lengthy statement, said that he had also been sent to the baseball writers. In sports, in sports, most of the writers in sports and most of the broadcasters are liberals, which doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense because of the fact that when you are in sports, especially when you are an athlete and you are working your butt off more than anybody else, and you worked yourself to a point to be better than everyone else, where you dominate all that, that means you worked hard to get there. That's what liberals believe. So it's really a conflict of interest there, because how can you believe that I worked really hard to get there, and when somebody else sits on their lazy ass and does nothing, you're okay with that? Let me see. Schilling says, as I've stated often over the past years to those I've spoken with, in my heart at peace, none of the claims have been made by any of the writers hold merit. I'm in my 22 years playing professional baseball, the most culturally diverse locker rooms in sports. I've never said or acted in any capacity other than being a good teammate. You know, and this is the sick part. You've got idiots out there. I mean, these people actually believe it. If you support Trump, they don't know Trump's history, nothing. If you support Trump, you are a racist. Now, I don't know how many people I get pissed off about that. I do. Yeah, you're right. You know, a lot of sports writers didn't even play sports. They don't get it. You know, I really enjoyed my conversation with Steve on Monday. He understands everything I'm doing. He does. Even though we don't agree on everything, which is fine, he understands why I do it, and he thanks me for doing it. He knows it's a lot of work for what we do. That's why we need everybody to help, and that's why, you know, I'm not going to get on my I'm not going to get on it today about the people that aren't helping, but we have to train people to learn that they're important and they can help. We have a lot of people out there. They have a lot of talent, and our government is missing that talent. Just is. You know, when you see the losers that end up running for office all the time, I'm telling you, that's why people come to me and they go, well, I don't know if I'm qualified. Well, let's start with school board. We have selected 2 people for Fox School District, which is my school district, that we're going to support. Rick Lamborn and Wendy Moore. And neither one has been involved in this stuff before. And they are, it's like, am I, you know, the one thing that everybody always asks, am I qualified? I said, well, let me think about this. Are you qualified? Can you spend more money than you take in? Well, what? Well, that's what makes you left. That's what makes you qualified and left. Will you install programs that will teach socialism to the kids? Will you do that? Well, I don't want to do that. Will you teach kids all about anal sex and all the rest of that stuff? Will you do that? Do you have a problem with that? Do you think that's okay in the schools? Well, of course not. And I could go on, but then after that, all I have to do is say, those are the ones that are on the school board that are okay with this stuff, and they say they're qualified. Now, if you don't believe in that stuff, that makes you more than qualified. You know, it doesn't. You know what really the board should be? It doesn't mean you have to know every little nook and cranny. It doesn't. You learn as you're on the job. They all do. But the ones that are running the show are the former administrators. In fact, one of the people on the ballot is the former superintendent, Jim Chalou. And the reason I'm bringing him up is because he's the one that recommended the next superintendent after him who was Diane Critchlow, who robbed the school district blind. She dressed like a hooker. She was a terrible. I mean, really, the whole thing was awful. So my question to all the voters out there is, why in the hell would you put your to the conservative voters, the liberal voters? This is something else. The liberal voters have to understand. You have to understand about liberal. They don't give a damn. They like their agenda. They don't like you to have free speech. Just look at what they're doing to us now. They don't like you to have free speech, and they think they're more qualified than you are. Well, I beg to differ, because it doesn't take, if we just brought common sense to a lot of this stuff and not worry about all the little complexities of what they try to pull out. If we worried about common sense, we can make much better decisions. Keith, you're a business owner. I'll bet you can walk into a situation and assess it, because people who are business owners are more apt to do this. And you can look at a whole situation and you go, well, what makes the most logic to me, because I have to worry about finances, I have to worry about everything involved. You use your common sense to make those decisions. And the one blessing you do have, especially when you get older, is if you have not been brainwashed already, what many of them have, by the way. If you have good common sense, then you can easily do it. You go ahead and you go, hey, wait a minute, I can make good common sense decisions. Logic is still in my brain, and there's a lot of older people that it's there, and they fail us because they don't get involved. Keith is getting involved. A lot of people get involved now, but what we have to make sure we do is we have to make sure that we get involved. Donald Trump, as you can see, could not do this by himself. That was the thing that bothered me from day one. Because as I've said, and if you get upset with this, too bad. Conservatives, not all, but most, when it comes to politics, are generally pretty damn lazy. They don't do anything. They don't show up for things. And the only time they do is when they're pissed off. They complain a lot, but to get out there and do the stuff is not something they do a lot of. And for me, that is really an issue. And until we say there's 75 million of us that most of us can do something, we can, 75 million people that are concerned about our country can step to the front and make the difference beyond belief. We can take this country back over. But if you sit blindly by like they did in Germany, if you sit blindly by like they did in Venezuela, they're doing it in Australia. If you do that, I got another one to add to that. When you do that, the liberals take over. I have to tell you, Keith says conservatives always think things will work out. Well, I'm going to play a little religion thing here, which I don't like to do on my show, but I do it for a reason. There's a reason why I have issues sometimes with religion. Because religion makes a lot of people lazy. Because what do they say? And I'm just going to use a few minutes of this. God will take care of it. Really? When those people are starving and you're going, God will take care of it. Is God going to go to the store and buy him food? What's going to happen? God uses us. It's that easy. That's the only point I want to make. God uses us. And when we sit on our butts and do nothing and let the liberals win, take over all the time, you should be ashamed of yourself. Every single one of you. I mean, even with the joining, it's going slowly. People want to get on the Real Republicans Facebook page, but I can count on one hand, maybe a little bit more, how many people have gone to the website and said, I want to be involved financially too. I want to allow $10, $20 a month to go to this because we need people to do this. We got to be able to support those people. But no, they don't do that. And I try not to lose it because I get so damn mad. It's like, wait a minute. You want me to do all the work? You want Keith to do all the... You want a few people to do all the work, and then you want to sit by and tell me? We had one woman who told somebody else that they were going to run for Fox School District. And, in fact, a couple of these people did it. They went ahead and said they were going to do it. And by the time it came to signing your name on the bottom line, they didn't go. They didn't tell anybody. Well, the one woman didn't go, and then they said, well, they want to come to your meeting. The meeting is for people we may want to support for two different groups want to support the right people to run. I want to show up for that, but I don't want to put my name down there. Well, and then another gentleman, I was like, I'm so glad you signed up. And he goes, well, I didn't do it because I'm doing something else. It's like, here we go. I care, but I can't do it. Or I won't do it. People get chicken, so the same people complaining don't do it. Oh, my God. Donald did get the economy working. Donald Trump did more for this country than any president in my lifetime. He had this economy rocking, and you can see the people. Can you imagine how many union jobs are going to be gone now? Now, to be fair, I don't want to get into a union deal here. The union bosses were saying vote for Biden because the union bosses are the ones making the money. They're guaranteed a job pretty much no matter what. But most union people voted for Trump. It's really got awful to have this man who's playing president who legitimately did not win. We all know that. And Facebook, don't take me down for that. We have a right to our opinion. You may not like it, but that's too bad. And we have other avenues, and they say fine. But we have a man who's legitimately not president, and we're not supposed to be upset. You know, I have to tell you something about how even-handed I am. Let's say, for instance, I got 4 friends that are going to run for office. Now, I'm not going to tell anybody not to run, but if they ask me, I'm going to be honest enough to tell them who I think the best candidate is. That's a hard thing to do for most people. For me, it's just simple. It's like, who do I get? Who is going to do the best job for this? That's exactly what we should be looking for. When Donald Trump came down the escalator at Trump Tower and said, I'm running for president, I was on the bandwagon immediately. I wasn't one of those cruise people. And a lot of the cruise people came and learned to like Trump. Some of them never did. Some of them were nutzos. But most of them did. And a lot of people that at first said I was crazy, all of a sudden, first that thought I was great, thought I was crazy, and then all of a sudden now they think I'm smart, one of the smarter guys in the room now. I'm not so sure about that, but who am I to argue? No, my point is that, I got to say this. We started Real Republicans not to be just another party, because we are. I don't like our name. I mean, I've been a Republican my whole life. Now, and I've already said if Trump starts a party, it's fine. Right now, that doesn't look like it's a big deal. But I've been a Republican my whole life. I believe in working hard. I believe in doing the right thing. But the people who took over believe in corruption. I don't believe in corruption, do you? I mean, none of my conservative friends believe in corruption. We don't like it. Most of them don't do anything about it, except complain. But they don't like it. So why in the hell are we leaving the party when the party belongs to us? And the thing is they've got it set up in such a way where if we start a new party right now, then it's almost impossible to get new people in for state representative, for senator, all those things. For any partisan election, it makes it impossible because Republicans and Democrats have written the rules to make it hard for everybody else. That's life. That's what it is. And just like Steve and I were talking about, Steve Martin the other day, those are the rules you have to deal with, so you beat them by their own game. You're right. Prayer is great, but we're also expected to give our God-given common sense, ambition, and talents. And, I got to give Wendy credit here, because Wendy at least is coming out. This is nothing she's ever done. Hell, she voted for Obama, but, she woke up. I slapped her around a little bit, no, not really, but, the bottom line was, she cares about our country. I knew that. I knew that when I met her, but she actually had voted for Trump before I met her. Started figuring it out, but with me, she have to figure it out. Now she's getting into stuff more than I ever have, and she does a lot of things. I mean, different things, and she's going to use the talents that she has. Every person watching this show right now needs to stop and say, all right, what can I do that's so good? What can I do that I can contribute? Number one, you can go to the website and contribute. Number two, you can figure out what talents you have that you can do. Now, one woman told me, she said, I'm not good at I wouldn't be good at running for things. I said, not everybody is. She said, but I'll be glad to do some of the work behind the scenes. We need that. We need that. We need people who like to call. We need people to do all kinds of things. There's a lot of things we need, but until we all work together, it's not going to happen. So I'm going to repeat, this Saturday, 1:30 at VFW in Arnold. It's at Church, 2301 Church at the corner of Jeffco. And you'll get to listen to me again. You'll go, God, you say that all the time, Dave. I'm like a broken record. I continually say things over and over because eventually you're going to get it. That's my goal. My goal is to make sure you get it because honestly, if you just ignore it, I'm gonna let you have it. Eventually, you're going to say, I need to get involved. And there, the thing that really bothers me more than anything is that there's so many talented people I know who don't even realize how important it would be for them to be truly involved. They really would be really good at being involved. I mean, I would love to see intelligent people make decisions at the state legislature or at the county levels or state levels, whatever it is. I would love to see that, but we don't see that. Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know if you know who she is. She's a conservative Democrat. There are some like them left. And not sure why she stays there, but she is. I mean, there are some things that, we wouldn't agree on, but she knows that the left is nuts. She knows that. And she's even saying, she sounds the alarm. Leftists are plotting KGB-style surveillance of conservatives. So here's my point to real Republicans. Are we going to sit on our butts and play defense all the time? Just like I talked to Steve the other day. I told you, I use sports analogies all the time because I think it's so important. Are we going to sit on our butts and play defense all the time? Or are we going to put ourselves together and have an agenda that's going to destroy the left? I don't like playing defense, and I'll be honest with you. The reason I'm coaching right now is so we can go to the offensive side. I don't like playing defense, and I certainly don't like playing defense alone. When you sit on your computers and you play Facebook all day, you're playing defense. You're a spectator, you're defense, whatever. Actually, you're not even defense because you're not even helping. Oh, yes, I am. I'm telling someone else all the bad stuff. Like we really need to know more? I always ask those people, what is it you think you're going to convince somebody of? I mean, what is the point? I don't have a problem moving around, saying it, doing that sometimes. I don't have a problem with it. But when that's all you do, you really have to stop and say, there's got to be more to life than complaining. I grew up with not much of a family, but I remember my mother would complain all the time. And the one thing I said, I am never going to deal with is a nagger and a complainer. Of course, you're women, so that goes with the story. I'll get in trouble there. No, but my point is that I don't like complainers, and I really get frustrated when people complain. And the ones that bother me the most are the complainers that do zero, nada, nothing. That's all they do. They show up every once in a while and say, "Yeah, I remember when I had Paul Curtman on my show, ex-state, former state representative. He said, "Yeah, we used to do the tea parties. We go out there, we do rallies, and everybody go home. Nobody do anything." Talked to my friend Linda the other day, and it's like, Linda, it's really frustrating sometimes doing this, and we have to help each other sometimes because she knows the frustration. She's done it too. But there comes a point, and I've heard this from many people who do what I do, who say it comes to a point where you just get tired and you're done. And you get tired of doing it by yourself, and that's just it. So anyway, I'll get to some headlines here. I don't want to just do this the whole time, but it's really, God, it's so important for people to really start doing things, to really get off their butts and do things. So Rand Paul comes out, and he says, we don't want to go forward with an impeachment. And of course, the Democrats say, this is the one thing too, if you ever notice, Democrats are really good about sticking together. Now, you may not like it, but that's what we have. They always stick together. There's 50 votes, you find 50 votes. Look at Republicans, 50 votes, 5 of them voted for impeachment to go forward. Not with impeachment, to go forward with the trial. Yeah, 5 of them. Leading the charge was Mitt Romney. I don't see most of these people making it another term. I really don't. Even though, now, let me explain something else to you too. And a lot of people know this. They set these votes up on purpose. But don't believe everybody that voted with Rand Paul. And the reason is because they're using that vote, so when they come back to you, they go, hey, I didn't vote to impeach the president. Because they know up front that voters are so forgetful. They're forgetful, and they'll say, oh, he didn't. I thought he did. Okay, he didn't. How many of these people stood with the president? That's what we need to do while he was in office. This is easy stuff here. A lot of this stuff is all vote stuff anyway, and how in the world can you impeach somebody that's not there? So can we go back? And you talk about dangerous precedent. So let's say in the next election, if something else doesn't happen sooner, in the next election, we elect Donald Trump again. And we make sure through Real Republicans and other groups, we make sure that we have and watching out for all the lies by the left. And by the way, the reason for Real Republicans is not just to have a group. I mean, it really is. It's to unite. The Republicans don't unite. Well, they do, but you're not invited. Just like George Carlin says. You're not invited. They unite on their own. The established Republican Party, they are united. They say, you just keep voting who we tell you to vote for, who we give you. You keep sending your money, and we'll run the show. But please, don't tell us what we should be doing. Now, to be fair, I understand a part of it. You're going, what? Because most of the people listening to the show right now, they give to candidates. I got it. But they don't give to the Republican Party. And I get that. I don't give money to the Republican Party. And they don't care. They want the money. That's just it. So what do? They cater to the people who give to them. And that's just dead wrong. This is about, the Republican Party is supposed to be about the people. It's not supposed to be about Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell was elected into office because of a guy named Donald Trump. I could go on and on with that. Most of the establishment Republicans, these are why they stab us in the back. This is why we have to unite to beat every damn one of them. Most of the Republicans got there because Trump supporters said, we're going to make sure he has Republicans there to help him so he can get his agenda done. That's why we did it. I'm telling you what, it just is. It's really, it's really important that we do. How do we fix the cyber fraud? Or like Senator John Johnson, just, of course it's human error. We should all know that. Well, you know what? That's why when we have organizations like Real Republicans and other ones, that's why that's how we can fix it. We can't fix it one by one. Look, we have supposedly a bunch of Republicans out there, and they're just sitting. I'm really frustrated in so many ways. They're really sitting idly by, waiting for the president to do something. You know, they watch, and this is what bothers me. They watch and wait for something to happen. Well, Trump will come up with something else. We all hope so. But I'm ashamed of you people if you're the ones sitting back waiting for that to happen. I'm not ashamed of you for thinking that. Good. Nothing wrong with having hope. But in the meantime, why don't you show some gumption? Why don't we show the president that we aren't going to sit by and let this happen? That's the point. How in the world can anybody just sit back and allow this to happen and say, well, here in March or this is going to happen, that's going to happen? You ever think about this? Have you ever thought about this? Because it's so easy. Because I'm going to tell you, if I am on the left and I'm in charge and I want to run this brainwashing campaign, I want you to think about this. I can put out exactly what QAnon or somebody else said or whatever you're hearing. I could do that. I'm not saying that's what happened. I could do that. And I could convince all the people that voted for Trump, or a lot of the people voted for Trump, that don't worry, sit back, do nothing, and it'll work out. I could do that. It's not hard. It really isn't hard. Because I have learned in my old age that Republicans don't like to do anything. They just don't. It is fact of life. That's it. They're all on their own. And as if I'm the enemy, honestly, Republicans are the easiest people to beat because they divide themselves in so many ways. In so many ways, they divide themselves, and even when they're not divided, they don't work together. And that's what we're trying to change. I talked about school board earlier. If there's two people, so I'm just using Fox School Districts, that's ours, who are going to get off their butt and stand up. I don't even say get off their butt. They're going to stand up and say, I'm going to run. Every person watching this show, should be saying, what can I do? And I already told you what you can do. But what can I do? Every person. Well, I don't know about that, Then what I would tell everybody is if you really don't want to be of help, take your name off of Real Republicans because you really aren't. You're really going in there as a joke, in my estimation. You are, because you're there and you want other people to do the work. Don't you love it? It kind of reminds me, this is America. All right, I'm let's say I'm a college kid, and my college basketball team wins the national championship, or even high school, whatever their maker was. And what did we yell back then in high school? We're number one. I didn't bounce that basketball in there. I'm just saying. I'm just a spectator. We're number one. They did all the work, and we watched them, but we're number one. Well, it's even worse in politics, because you're not even paying to go to the game. You're getting free everything. You're getting free Facebook. You're getting free everything, and then when somebody says something about putting money up, you go, no, I'm not doing that. We got my friend Keith. He's running for health board, and people go, well, that's no big deal. Guess what? Was it a big deal when these health boards were closing down? They were shutting down the economies of every county. All of a sudden, those health boards made a difference, didn't they? Elected officials make a difference. That's what I've been trying to preach for years and years and years. And if you are someone, like I said, and some of this is old stuff, if you are someone that's saying, well, they're all a bunch of crooks, the reason they're crooks is because of you. Because you, not every one of you, but most people, yeah, you get a participation trophy, that's right. But if you're sitting back and you're not doing a damn thing, you're the reason they're criminals. I wouldn't do that. They're a bunch of criminals. My question to every single one of you that says that, so does that mean if you run that you're going to be a criminal? Is that what it means? That's what it sounds like. And if it isn't, then get off your lazy butt and get over there and help. It's really unfortunate that we have so many people, so many people running for office. I mean, I've talked to a lot of these people, and all I could think of was, well, at least they're running. I don't want to ever think like that when I'm employing someone. I'm an employer, and when I employ someone, I want them to have certain talents. I don't want to give them a participation trophy. I mean, how would you like it if you're an employer and everybody came to your door, whether they were qualified or not, was voted by the rest of the people to get the job? Because that's really what we're talking about. Well, you're really not qualified, but you're better than nothing. How many times do we hear that one? Yeah, you're better than nothing. Wow. That's really a good thing, isn't it? I'm reaching out to a lot of you really smart people who can control yourselves, who can go into a situation and say, let's assess the situation. And this actually happens a lot when people get older. Let's assess the situation and see what we can do about it. When I watch what some of these government people do in our own county, they have something called planning and zoning. I love planning and zoning because damn near every person on the damn planning and zoning doesn't have a clue what the hell they're talking about. They've never been involved. All they have to do is be a friend of the clown, the corrupt clown that had been elected, and they say, yeah, you can be one of my people. Send it to me, not a problem. What did you do? It doesn't matter. As long as you give to my campaign, as long as you believe in me. That's who's on planning and zoning half the time. It's too bad my friend, can't think of his name offhand, I'll think of him in a minute here, but he's not here because he deals with this all the time. How would you like to have land? And you've never had a problem with it. And all of a sudden, some developers who have great connections with the mayor or county executive or whatever goes in there and says, hey, we want to build a bunch of houses here. Wow, we got more tax money coming in. All right, we're going to put 50 houses there. Go ahead and do it. Give us your plans and whatever, we'll do it. And they give them the plans, they let them get through, and all of a sudden, you have this big housing complex next to you. Okay, fine. And then it rains, and the water covers your yard. It gets into your house. All that stuff happens because of the fact that you've got a bunch of nincompoops who are involved with planning and zoning, who are allowing developers to do what the hell they want, who are allowing developers to go ahead and destroy the property. That happens all the time. That's on a local level, and we let that happen. We let it happen because we elect idiots to run it. Not everyone is, but a lot of them are. Yeah, I would rather have, there's a lot of people I'd rather have than the current county executive we have. He shut down the economy over bullshit. But I'm a Republican. Oh, good God. Hey, there, I used to drive me crazy. No matter what, we got to vote for a Republican. We, and so I started having fun with this. Like, you mean like Mitch McConnell? Oh, no. Okay, how about Jeff Flake? And I could go on with all the fake Republicans. I want them to think about the fact that just because they got an R next to their name doesn't mean they're really what I call a Republican. I am responsible for everything I do. I'm responsible for it. And if I don't do my job, even with this, I felt bad yesterday because I couldn't be here, but I couldn't help it. Because it's what I consider my job. My self-appointed job, mind you. People are like, where are you, Dave? Where are you? Well, I have personal stuff to take care of. And it happened to be on a Tuesday. That's why. But my point is that I feel like I have a duty, even as president of Real Republicans, I have a duty to everybody. I have a duty to everybody. Keith says, hi, Keith Carroll. Hi, I am Keith Carroll running for health board, and I am better than nothing. Not a good slogan. You're right, Keith. That's exactly what it is. But people think that people actually think that they are not qualified. When I was younger, that's a long time ago, shut up. When I was younger, though, I remember I would see people come to my house and they do electrical work or they knew how to do plumbing work. And I would watch them intently because I knew I was smarter than they were, but I didn't learn that skill. And guess what? I learned that skill. I could do most plumbing stuff. I could do almost all electrical stuff. And believe it or not, I know how to do computer stuff. I didn't go to school for it because I took it upon myself to learn this stuff. I remember the line workers at Chrysler. I knew a bunch of them, and I ask them sometimes, what happens if you lose your job? And because they were taught not to think, which most people are, they said, well, I'll never lose my job. I'm just going to stay there for this many years and retire. And it was like, no, well, that may have happened 50 years ago, but you can't guarantee it now. Oh, no. So they had no other skills, or not all of them, but a lot of them had no other skills. All they knew to do was get to work in the morning and get home at night. That's all they knew. They did their job during the daytime, putting a fender on a car or whatever they did. It's hard work. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking what they did. But they didn't prepare themselves for what else they had to do. And all of a sudden, they lose their job, and they expect the government. And I asked him, I said, so if you lose your job, well, I'm not going to, but let's just say you do. What are you going to do? Well, I don't plan on losing my job. That was it. They had no alternative. And for me, it was like, if you lose your job, you do something else. I've never been without a job in my life. I don't know how anybody is. I don't, because I've learned many different technical skills. When I started working on computers, I didn't know a damn thing about it. I went out and bought a computer and turned it on. I said, this is back in 1988, I guess it was. And I turned it on, and it said C prompt. What the hell does that mean? And I had to learn. That was DOS. And I had to learn, and I did. I just said, I'm going to put my mind to learn how to do it. It wasn't easy, But I didn't sit back and wait for somebody else to do it. How many people? Don't you hate it when Democrats come out with, we have all these job training, we have all the job training, and people expect the government to pay for them to be trained to do something else. I never understood that. Why is it my job to help pay for somebody else to learn a different skill? I don't get it. How many times do we see local offices with only one candidate or occasionally no candidates? All the time, Jim. That drives me bonkers. But Republicans are good about that too. They're really good about it. When I ran for office, there was no one else on the ballot. And guess what I did for Jefferson County, though, is I started getting other people to run, and all of a sudden, the opponents of mine started doing the same thing. And then they had their hands in on the vote counter, and that was the end of it. So anyway, let me see what we got here. But you're right, though. Better than nothing is often good enough. Well, it isn't for me. Isn't it interesting? You know what? If you go to dinner somewhere and you bitch and moan about your food, how bad it is, do you go back? Most people don't. Most people say that food sucks. I'm not going back. Their service is horrible, whatever it is. I don't go back. You know, Keith, that is so right. Making decent money is one of the worst things that happens to people. You make $30 an hour and you stop trying to improve your life and never go on to make $200 an hour. Exactly right. Exactly right. Everybody has a plateau. Well, not everybody. Most people have a plateau of what they make. And a lot of us, and I'm going to tell you a problem I had when I was younger. I didn't think I was worth as much as I was. I didn't realize it. So I would undercharge, and I see a lot of places do that. Now, if you're the recipient, you love it. But we undercharged. And it took a while for me to understand that I have to charge a lot more, and I'm worth a lot more. Not just charge, I'm worth a lot more. But you better be ready to do it. You know, in my business that I have a lot of, and I don't talk about my business on purpose because I got idiots that watch the show that it causes problems. But when I work with these people, they pay for talent, they pay for hard work, and they pay for somebody who knows what the hell they're doing. And they pay. No different than an attorney or anything else. Yeah, I always loved it. You know, look, where I grew up, it was like, well, you could buy that a lot cheaper. And not always, but a lot of times you get what you pay for. And it took me a while to learn that. It did. You know, I used to buy cheap crap all the time. And one day I said, you know what? I keep replacing the cheap crap. I think I'll buy something that's a lot better. It's a learning process. How did I learn? I had to learn on my own. Damn near everything I've ever learned is on my own. Even with what I'm doing right now, I pretty much learned on my own. And I'm not that good at it, but I learned on my own. I remember the days when I was afraid to talk in front of people. I had to get past that. My God, that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It was getting up on a stage and talking to people. Now, it's not quite like that anymore. It's called give me the microphone, let me do what I do. And I actually like to help other people learn how to do it. Because I understand the fear. And that's why, you know, if you're someone, here's one for you too. I know there's a lot of talented people out there, and this is important. There's a lot of talented people out there that say, well, if I take that position, I got to talk in front of people. And don't ever think I don't understand that, because I understand it more than anybody. I mean, I used to sweat bullets. But now I sweat bullets when I see somebody up there. I sweat for them when I see they're struggling. But there's techniques that you use and things like that to learn to get up in front of people. And I had to learn them. And I did learn from a couple people. But, you know, the bottom line is that it was more important for me to to learn how to do that and become better at what I do than it was to sit there and cry about it and complain about it. Because, even I remember the first time I did karaoke. Here I am. I'm on the radio. I'm, back in the days I was doing radio and the rest of it. But to get up in front of a bunch of people and sing, and I supposedly have a voice, but I wouldn't do it. Then one day, after a couple of a little bit of liquid courage and the rest of it, I got up there, and everybody's applauding. I was like, "What are they applauding for?" Because you were good. Because I was using the voice I was given. Not what it used to be, but it's still there. Lawyers bill $200 an hour. No one works 40-hour weeks for $200 an hour. They can get us, yeah. Well, that's what they usually do. Did you know? I'm glad you brought that up. Did you know who the highest paid federal employee is? The highest paid federal employee is? It's the guy that caused the shutdowns. Now, I would have to say, I'm not here to attack Trump. I would have to say Trump should have dumped his ass a long time ago. That's one that I scratched my head and was like, you need to get rid of him. And maybe he had a reason for doing, I don't know. But Dr. Fauci is a quack. I call him Dr. Quack Fauci because that's what he is. He's a quack. And Dr. Fauci is going to give you the biggest bunch of bull you've ever heard. Yeah, you knew it, Jim. I knew you knew it. Dr. Fauci was making, what, 416, more than the President of the United States. Yeah, Fraudchi, that's about right, too. $416,000 a year. A government-paid employee with your tax money. Now, look, I am not a scientist or a doctor. But, Keith, you're a business owner. Do you agree with me on this? I could have done a better job than Dr. Fauci with my hands tied behind my back. Or as Rush says, with half my brain tied behind my back. I could have easily. And the guys and there's so many of these people making a fortune. You remember the guy in the, in the impeachment trial? I try to remember all the different, I think it was the impeachment trial. The kind of a sissy guy who was in the I don't forget what branch of service. It just did not impress me to be a stud. And I just remember him, and he went ahead and retired after all that stuff. And he's retiring, I think, almost $200,000 a year. Why are we paying these people your tax money for that? We're worried about we're paying state workers. If you're a federal employee, you are usually doing quite well. I mean, if you go to the federal part, you usually do real well. Screwed up HIV research, kind of screwed up Ebola. And you know what? I want to and I'm glad you said that. Somebody says, well, what else are you going to do besides support candidates? Well, number one, we are not united. We need to spend a lot of this to make sure we are united. And I mean united. I'm not talking, and I mean with having talented people get in there and do things in our organization. Talented people that can start a Facebook who have the talent to do that. I'm not saying just that. Or start our own TV or radio stations or whatever. All that stuff can be done if we all work together. Think about it. 75 million people. Think about it. That's a lot of people, and we're not utilizing those people. I would have to say there's probably under 250,000. I'm really pressing it, but let's say under 250,000 who are actually doing anything. Everybody else is standing on the sideline, just like our friend said. Oh, that Steven said, yeah, Fauci owns the patterns on HIV and COVID-19. That's right. And do you hear that? Wouldn't that be a conspiracy now? Wouldn't he be going, now, wait a minute. If that was Trump, in fact, I remember with the hydroxychloroquine, somebody came out and says, "Well, Trump owns stock in that, in the pharmaceutical company has that," and I would guarantee you, my life savings, that there's no way Trump has a clue of every piece of stock he owns. You know why? He's got a professional to do that. He knows what he may know how to do it, but he's got somebody who does it. He doesn't know. But the media was coming out trying to say that he owns something, and people said, "Well, isn't that concern you?" I was like, "No. How in the hell would he know?" And and one of the problems with hydroxychloroquine, for people that don't know why it wasn't more popular, it's an easy answer. For a life-saving drug for $20? Are you kidding me? The pharmaceutical company said, no. If you're going to save a life is worth a lot more. So we have to develop something, and that's the problem. We did this so stupidly. We have to develop something. Think about it. That has to cost a lot more, even though it may not work as well. We don't know. But hydroxychloroquine was brought up by many doctors, said, "Hey, it works great." One doctor said, over in other countries they buy it over the counter. Not a big deal. I'm talking about cat herding. You got that right. Well, no, on the conservative side. On a conservative side, Jim. Look, I give credit where credit is due. On the liberal side, they are really good. They are really good at sticking together. You see it just in the vote to impeach the president. Whether they're going to have the, and they play that. And I'm telling you, folks, they are playing that game. Roy Blunt, I'm sure, wants to get elected again. I don't think he will, but unless we unite and do something, this is why I get really pissed off when people don't help. Because what happens is if we don't unite and come up with a really good candidate, somebody's going to stand up for the Constitution, going to stand up for what's right, you're going to get another Roy Blunt. That's who you're going to get. Oh, he may not look like him, but he'll be a younger version. And he'll say the right things. And he won't have a track history because of the fact that they want to make sure you don't know who he really is. That's how this game works. And if you think it works any different, then you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You know, the beauty of doing this for so long is you really understand what's going on. Jim, you're one of them. You understand what's going on. I mean, Jim and I don't agree on everything and all that stuff, but, we do understand how this works. And we've talked a little bit about it, but he knows that. Anthony Fauci ranks number 5 on the 2020 World's Greatest Leaders, Heroes of the Pandemic. Oh, my God. Oh, don't even. You know what? I haven't eaten yet, so that's good. Maybe that'll keep me from eating. Get rid of those extra pounds I'm trying to get rid of. It's... Hey, Steve Martin, is it hard for you to keep your weight off as you get older? He's a big guy. He probably still works out. Last time I saw him, he sure looked like it. But anyway, do you want? Okay, I got to ask you. Do you want to elect a Roy Blunt lookalike? I'm not talking about looks. I'm talking about where he's going to do what he's there to do for the established Republican Party. Actually, I'll tell you what, the establishment wanted. They're the ones that actually wanted Josh Hawley, and I think they're not too happy with him right now. Don't think they're happy because Hawley wasn't supposed to do that stuff. He wasn't starting out like that, but then he started to. And Hawley's been standing up. Look, I got to give him credit. He's standing up. I was not a Hawley guy at first. But, in that case, you said these things, you better earn my keep. And he did. And he did a good job of it. So I have to give Hawley a lot of credit. All right, I'm going to take a break here. Let me see. Where can I go today? Oh, I know what I'll do. Let me find some. I thought it was here. Is it? Let me find this real quick. Got to find something to play. Let me see. I'm gonna play this so I can take a break. Give me a second here. You'll like this. You'll always like this stuff. Okay. Oh, let me get this started here. And for those of you who've never seen this, it's really cool. It really is. So let me get this going here. Alrighty, we're going to take a break. We'll be back in a few.
I remember a teacher that I had. Now, I went through the 7th grade. I went to the 7th grade. I left home when I was 10 years old because I was hungry. And I used to, this is true. I work in the summer, I go to school in the winter. But I had this one teacher who was the principal of the Harrison School in Vincennes, Indiana. To me, this was the greatest teacher, a real sage of my time, anyhow. He had such wisdom. And we were all reciting the Pledge of Allegiance one day. And he walked over, this little old teacher, Mr. Laswell was his name. Mr. Laswell, he says, I've been listening to you boys and girls recite the Pledge of Allegiance all semester, and it seems as though it's becoming monotonous to you. If I may I recite it and try to explain to you the meaning of each word. I, me, an individual, a committee of one, pledge, dedicate all of my worldly goods to give without self-pity, allegiance, my love and my devotion, to the flag, our standard, Old Glory, a symbol of freedom. Wherever she waves, there's respect, because your loyalty has given her a dignity that shouts freedom is everybody's job. United. That means that we have all come together. States, individual communities that have united into 48 great states. 48 individual communities with pride and dignity and purpose. All divided with imaginary boundaries, yet united to a common purpose. And that's love for country. And to the Republic, a state in which sovereign power is invested in representatives chosen by the people to govern. And government is the people. And it's from the people to the leaders, not from the leaders to the people, for which it stands. One nation, meaning so blessed by God, indivisible, incapable of being divided, with liberty, which is freedom, the right of power to live one's own life without threats, fear, or some sort of retaliation. And justice, the principle or qualities of dealing fairly with others. For all, which means, boys and girls, it's as much your country as it is mine. And now, boys and girls, let me hear you recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Since I was a small boy, 2 states have been added to our country, and 2 words have been added to the Pledge of Allegiance. Under God. Wouldn't it be a pity if someone said that is a prayer and that would be eliminated from schools too?
Well, there you go.
The politicians have decided to take
If,
the Pledge of Allegiance out of our schools.
If you don't,
Red Skelton,
that
I'm so
doesn't
very
if that
glad
doesn't get
you're
you,
not
I don't know
alive
what
to have
does.
seen
I
it
mean, really,
happen. The
I
Pledge
think
of
I think
Allegiance
more
made me
people need
personally
to
a better American.
spend more time looking at things like that really get their heart, that really get them, because like I said, the Lee Greenwood thing I play all the time, and of course my theme song, I play that for a reason, because I think that every person needs to be in touch with themselves on their country, because maybe if they do that, then maybe, just maybe, they'll turn around and say, you know something, I really need to do more. I really do. And until we do that, I just if you love your country, you're going to do what it takes. I don't like, the reason I'm even talking about this, I don't like the fake bullshit, and I'm sorry, I just had to say it like this, where you hold up a flag on July 4th and you go, I'm a patriot. And your biggest concern is what you're going to have to drink and eat and what the fireworks are going to be like. Not realizing what July 4th is really all about. Independence Day is all about. If we can't understand what Independence Day is all about, why the hell are we here? I mean, I honestly, I played something yesterday on my Facebook, and whatever, I can find it real quick here, and it was the answers that these people were giving. They were giving answers. Someone was asking questions, and they're giving answers. They had no idea. I mean, if it's that difficult for you to understand, what year was with the War of 1812? If you can't understand that, wow, we have problems, folks. We have some real problems. We do.
How many world wars have there been?
Let me start this real quick. I want to play this a little bit. I'm not going to play all of it. I'm going to play a little bit of it here. So, all right, watch this. Let me get over here. All right, give me a second here.
World War IV. It's World War IV.
In what year did 9/11 happen?
Wow. I know that one. 2009.
How many states are there in the continental U.S.?
56.
The Civil War was between the U.S. and the English.
Speaking of Washington, D.C., which states border it?
Mexico.
What is the largest U.S. state?
Is Russia a state?
Huh?
Is Russia a state?
We're here for another round of Pop Quiz on the Beach, but this time we're in Miami. We're asking people basic American history questions to see just how much they know about the nation that they live in. Let's see. Who won the Civil War?
The South or the what was, I don't know. The South.
Do you know who won the Civil War?
No.
Who won the Civil War?
I have no idea.
Do you know what the Civil War is?
No, I don't.
Who won the Civil War?
Which Civil War?
The only one in American history.
The Americans.
So if the Americans won, who lost?
The British.
Who won the Civil War?
I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not gonna be good at this either. I apologize.
You giving up?
That's your
And
guy
we
right there.
can't figure out why.
Are you giving up?
We need to do more in the schools.
It was fine.
You know,
in the,
if
in
you're
the
an
United
American
States.
and you're watching it,
There
you
were
have
two
to be so
sides.
embarrassed. And this is
Oh,
going.
good
Remember when
question.
they were knocking the statues down? Remember that?
I have to pass
They're knocking
on
the
that
statues
one.
down.
Who won the Civil War?
Most of them
British-
didn't know
the
what the
North.
hell the statues were.
Wait,
All I
yeah,
know
the
is
North.
somebody said, "Well, these people were
The British,
prejudiced.
ain't
These
it?
people were racist."
The Civil War was the North and the
And
South.
that's it.
Right. South,
So,
North and the South, yeah.
That's what we had. And there's 15
Yeah,
minutes. I'm not going to play all 15 minutes. But
the
they're over
Civil
there. They a lot of these
South.
people.
The South.
They went to the
Final answer.
schools
The
that
South.
we all went to.
Civil War.
Now,
was
if you
between
don't know,
the US
if you're
and the
going to
England-
fireworks
English?
and you don't know who
Which one was
who
that?
fought the
Revolutionary
Revolutionary War,
The Civil War was won by the people who weren't.
or even a Civil
that's
War,
not
my
the
God!
conser-
If you don't know what
that's
that
not the
is,
conservatives, it's
I
the
don't.
other
Then we know what a Civil War is.
Well, there's a lot there to unpack. Well, Conservatives
And you wonder
weren't
why.
Really
And so
on
for
either
those of
side.
you out
It
there
wasn't
saying
really
you are
about the
not
political
qualified,
parties. Who did we beat in the Civil War?
yeah, this is actually a boost to those people out there that put their name on the ballot
Well,
or
okay,
who are
who
afraid
won the
to
Civil War?
and say, you know what?
The North.
Yes. Yeah, the Americans don't
This
even know
stuff has
what
to
was
be
the Civil
taught.
War about.
You know, I care more about the schools than a lot of people. And people don't know. Why do you
Oh, I
say
don't
that?
know.
I said because
I don't know.
What year
At
was the War of
least-
1812?
you know, I mean, not everybody can
we gotta know
homeschool,
this
not everybody can do
answer.
that. But at least if they go to the school, they should learn the
What year was
history
the
of
War
our country.
1812?
I mean, we started out as little to nothing
1812?
colonies, and then now we're
Wait, what's
the
the question?
greatest
What's the
country in the world, and we have politicians
Oh, 1812.
who are willing to sell
Oh, okay, I was
ourselves
really overthinking
to
it.
the Chinese and let them
In
go.
what year did 9/11 happen?
Oh, is
wow.
that?
I know
Can you
that
hear
one.
that? I'm sorry. And I'm not dude. I'm Dave. Sorry. I have a leak on one of the channels here, and I'm probably gonna have to get a different mixer. But thank you for telling me. I appreciate that. But that's what's going on. You know, we have all these people out there who go to schools and they come out and they don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't even know the history. They don't even realize that, like I said, the Civil War. One of the questions they asked later on: how many wars were there? One of them said 4. I did. I turned the clip off. Sorry about that. Like I said, I got a leak in the channel, and that's why I did it. So I got to fix it. You're right about that. But anyway, back to what I was saying. That's exactly where we are. Is it better now? Is it better now, everybody? I hope so. No, there should be nothing else on there. So, but you can call in. We do have. You can call in. I got to make sure I do that. So, Dr. Neely is here. Good. You know, we had a chance to elect somebody great. We decided to elect somebody that wasn't. And you know why that happened? And this is no fault of him or me or anybody else. Because what we do is we have people that run, and the only people that are organized are the ones that are organized against us. That's the whole point. The Republican Party is not organized except against us. I don't like it when I walk into a Republican place and I can't put up our candidate's signs because he's not a paid-off incumbent. I can't. That's not for us. When that happened, and by the way, that woman is gone. Gene Evans is gone. Thank God for that. That's the best thing that happen. But that's what happens when you get involved in this. Sometimes you find out that these parties don't. They want to act like they want you in. You know, I remember the first time when my son was going to run for county clerk. One of these Republicans in our area said, and she was offended that we didn't go ask her first. Excuse me? You don't even, the Republican Party, every person watching right now, the Republican Party basically is not kind to the people that they supposedly are serving. They're not. Why the hell do you think I started with Republicans? So we had that because what I did as a troubleshooter is I said, what are we doing wrong? Now, a few years ago, I kind of started a group called the Cleanup Crew. It actually worked out pretty well, but that kind of died. I kind of backed off because I was trying to watch to see what happened. But I also saw there were very few of us doing anything. And so after a while, after going through the election with Jim and everything else that happened, all I could see was conservatives were not together. They weren't together. That is not the case on the left. I'm telling you right now, they are very organized. Now, we're not violent people. We're not violent people. But we don't even get together for anything. That's the whole point. I'm not here to bitch and moan. I'm just saying that I'm trying to come up with solutions. See, because the one thing that what a lot of conservatives do is they point out the bad stuff. And I always say, well, what's your solution? I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. My solution's a little more difficult, though. That's the problem. My solution is go to realrepublicans.net, put your name out there so we know who the hell you are, and you'll be involved and you'll be at these places. And if you're not in my area, you can start one in your area. It may not, you may even my friend Steve, he may not want to, and that's fine. But bottom line is at least we are more unison. We're working together instead of just having a few people do it. I find it unbelievable that we go ahead and we say, we want you to do all the work. We want you to pay for everything. And we're going to sit back and tell you what to do. I know, this is the same message every day. I know. But it just baffles me because when I watch what's going on, because like I told everybody, it's like, I'm not doing this forever. I can only do so much. If I don't feel like I've done enough, then I'm going to walk. I will walk. And I'm not walking because I'm not, I don't care. I walk because I find that it's an impossible task. And believe me, let me tell you right now, most people will tell me what you're doing is impossible. And maybe it is. Maybe I'm taking on the impossible. But you know what? Everyone else can prove me wrong. There's some people that absolutely are with us all the way, and they're like, Dave, I'm with you. I totally get it. But even the school board election, we got people, we want them to put their money out. We want them to, do everything. And we don't even have the decency to find out who they are. They have a meeting and say, I'm running for a school board. And you go, I don't have time for that crap. Do you have time for that crap when they raise your taxes? Do you like that? Do you have time for that crap when they're teaching your children or grandchildren how to masturbate? Do you have time for it then? Do you have time for it when they start talking about anal sex in grade school or middle school? Do you have time for it then? Oh, all of a sudden I care. And then you show up at the superintendent's office. Maybe. I know people don't even go to the parent-teacher conference. As a single father, I went to all of them. I never understood why somebody wouldn't want to go there and see what was going on. I remember telling a teacher, his second grade teacher one time. And he was struggling a little bit. And who knows why, but he was. And she goes, it's okay. He's such a great kid. And I go, I want a great kid that's keeping up. That's what I want. And that's what I made sure I did my part to make sure it happened. But I have a lot of friends that don't even bother, have never been to a meeting, have never been to a school board meeting, have never been to their own parent-teacher meeting, never done that. I don't know how people do that. Well, the wife takes care of it. Well, how's that working out for you? Because you have a different view, and it's your child. I realize it can't happen every time. I remember now what do we get? We get, where they do go, though? Oh, I wish my friend Ronnie White was here. Ronnie White was my friend down in Southwest Missouri, and he was an ROTC teacher. Okay? And I remember him telling me, he said, you'd be shocked how many parents don't show up for the parent-teacher conference, but you see those same parents at the football game on Friday night. Yep, that's what he saw. And I think he got disgusted with it because after a while he finally retired and he loved the kids and the kids loved him. The man worked his butt off to do a lot of things for those kids and they were so appreciative. But the parents, it's just difficult. It really is. So I'm going to get back to what I said. Are you guys happy with the fact that the schools are teaching this utter stupidity, that they're not teaching real history? I heard yesterday where they're going back and they're rewriting history. They've been doing anyway, but it's really a big deal now. President Trump was pushing, he signed the 1776 project. And the whole point was, so we go back and learn our real history. Every school system should be taking that on. Guess what? They're not. Guess what? The NEA teachers, the teachers' unions, who should never have unions. The teachers' union. I don't have a problem with unions. I have a problem with government unions. But the teachers' unions are saying, we don't want to teach that. In fact, in Chicago, they go, we don't want to teach. We don't want to show up. You know, it's supposed to snow here today. It's starting to right now, just real light. This is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. I think one of the school districts in Jefferson County, because it's going to snow here today, is virtual only. All right, you got that? They're virtual only. They don't go to the school. And they called school off. Yeah. They called school off. Why? Why did they do that? You know, when I was going to school, we had to walk uphill both ways. No, when I was going to school, I remember after I get done with my job, because I worked when I was in high school. I get done with my job. I take a quick shower. My hair wouldn't dry because I had a lot of hair then, and it wouldn't dry in time. And I had frozen hair going to the bus stop so I could go to school. And it would be ice out there, be snow, be everything. I still went out there and I walked. And I'm not trying to act like Bill Cosby here. But I still went to school. It was expected. I went there and that's it. I've always been one that if you're supposed to be somewhere, be there and be there on time. There's some people don't like me because I'm very punctual. But I'm very punctual. When you got to be somewhere, you got to be there on time. You also walked uphill 2 miles of snowstorms. Yeah, me too. But I lived in South St. Louis, and for those of you not from here, I probably lived 15 miles away from my high school. And I walked to the bus stop, which was about a half a mile, and I caught a bus, and I took the bus to one place, and I got a transfer, and I had to sit in the cold and wait for the next bus. Didn't think much of it. And then that bus would take us to the school. That was bi-state buses, by the way. Yes, we used bi-state buses. We didn't have the school buses picking us up and dropping us off. So, you know, I did what I had to do to get to school because that's where I wanted to go. I didn't want to stay home, that's for sure. By the way, one reason we do need public schools, whether you like them or not, is because some of these kids need to get the hell away from home. You may think I'm joking. That's one reason why people go, well, everybody should homeschool. Well, first off, that's a fantasy. Not everybody should or could or should is especially because a lot of parents would not be good at conducting their education for the kids. Some of them are great. But some kids need to get away from their parents. I did. If I would have stayed home, I would probably be in jail like the rest of my family was. But I wasn't. I just said, I'm getting the hell out of here. That's exactly why I did it. The only days when I got older and had a car, I didn't go to school every day because it was a beautiful day. That's the day that we took off for vacation. In fact, what you do, by the way, is if you're sick, that's when you go to school. All the teachers felt bad for you, and they let you do whatever you wanted, but that's when you were sick. But I wasn't sick that often anyway. By the way, how many people getting shots? Doug, I'm sure. Doug, you got your shot already, right? How many people are getting shots? You walk quite a distance to your high school in the city. A lot of us did. You know what? I'm fascinated by the fact that I actually have been to the bus stops in Jefferson County and others where you've got high school kids. They drop them off. They used to drop off the top of our subdivision, and mommy and daddy would be there to pick them up and take them home, which would be 3 or 4 blocks. And they couldn't understand why their kids were not in shape and the rest of it. I'm serious. Why? That happened for me. I mean, I see it all the time. It's like, well, let them walk. We used to walk. but it's cold out there. My God. I just, let me tell you something. I wonder how many of them could have wonder how many of them could have done what we did in Washington, D.C. That was one of the coldest. Oh, my God. Doug and Tanya, you'll be glad you didn't go, because you would have froze, because you can't really move around as much as some of us, and even walking was cold. It was damn cold. It really was. Our pandemic fears are killing what makes life worth living. Oh, the Epoch Times, yeah. Well, you know what? Doug, you're right. But, you know, one thing I did learn a long time ago is people want... You're not getting a shot, Mark? Come on, Mark. No, smart people don't get the shot. In fact, I have a story about that. Let me see if I still have it here. Healthcare worker dies after second dose of COVID shot. Yep. You won't see that on the evening news, will you? You won't see that at all. Healthcare worker dies. Let me see. The message is, be safe, take the vaccine, but the officials need to do more research. It was rushed through. Of course, that's his fault. Tim Zook. Last post on Facebook brimmed with optimism. Never been so excited to get a flu shot. I'm sorry. I don't want to say deserve to die, but my God. I'm never, why would anybody be excited about that? Anyway, with a band in his arm and his COVID-19 vaccination card. I am now fully vaccinated. Well, guess what? I guarantee you he'll never get COVID now. Zook, 60, was an X-ray technologist at South Coast Global Medical Center in Santa Ana. A couple hours later, he had an upset stomach and trouble breathing. By 3:30, it was so bad his colleagues at work walked him to the emergency room. Should I be worried? His wife, Rochelle, texted when she got the news. No, absolutely not. He texts back, do you think this is a direct result of vaccine? She typed, no. I'm sure. I'm not sure what, but don't worry. There were suspicions of COVID and a diagnosis of congestive heart failure. Zook was put on oxygen. Then hours later, a BiPAP machine to help push air into his lungs. Shortly after midnight, a hospital called. Zook was in a medically induced coma and on a ventilator to help him breathe. But his blood pressure soon dropped and he was transferred to the UC Irvine Medical Center on Friday. I get a call. His kidneys are failing. In other words, I don't need to go through all. He died because of the COVID shot. Reaction, but no blame. We are not blaming any pharmaceutical company, his wife said, a resident of Orange. My husband loved what he did. He worked for the hospital 36 and a half years. He believed in vaccines. I'm sure he would take the vaccine again. You think so? Let me guess. Let me see. Let's say he lived through it. If you went back to him and he said, yeah, I'll take a vaccine, do you think he'd really do it? I don't know what you folks think, but I don't think I would. I don't think I would at all. That's it. I'm sorry. Everybody's sending me stuff here. From what I understand, hydroxychloroquine is the best thing. The number one reason for death in America is birth. That's probably correct. Or being a Democrat. No, that should be forced death. That's a joke, Facebook. That's a joke. Don't take everything I say seriously. You got to watch what Facebook thinks here because they're going to shut me down. I wonder if they're going to, they always have this bit where they go, oh, you'll like this. I get this message when I play Lee Greenwood, all right? And it says, because I play Lee Greenwood, that it's not being shown to certain countries because they may not like the video. And it's Lee Greenwood saying his thing, God bless America. How could that be? How could anybody think that's bad? God bless America? Oh my God. I just. Oh, God bless America. Hey, how dare you say that? Hey, see, that's what our group can do. All of a sudden, one day, we can start putting the pro-America stuff out there. Everybody do it for one day. You get 1 million people in an organization, everybody do it. You talk about driving the left's nuts because they all hate America. What would they say? You're trying to indoctrinate everybody? Yes. Make sure you send those kids to school, will you? Make sure you send them to school so we can indoctrinate them every day. The reason you need good people on your school boards and people leading your states to make sure they have good school boards up top is so they're not pushing that trash. You know what? Come to think of it, I'm glad you brought the Ayatollah hates it, Iran. Let me tell you, when you see how the Muslims back in the Obama days were killing, not all Muslims, the terrorist Muslims, let me clarify there. Got to watch everything I say here. The terrorist Muslims were killing all these people. Christians, you name it, a lot of Americans, all that stuff. And the kids were with them. And they were in, yeah, go for it. And people would say, how can kids do that? And I used to say, because they're being taught that. They're being taught that by their family, by their schools, all that stuff. Down with America. That's what they're being taught. And you don't want to help somebody get on the school board and take our schools back? Really? You've got to be kidding me. That's my whole point. That's why people have to wake up because, those don't really mean. Yes, they do. When I hear the things from my son, he's got 2 kids in school, one in middle school and the other one's in grade school. And the things that they're trying to teach them, especially in middle school. This is our school district, folks. And a lot of parents don't even know it. My son learned from me. And that was, he learned, let me find out what they're teaching in school. And I always paid attention to what they were teaching in school. In fact, I've even let some teachers have it sometimes. I won't go through all my stories. I got 1 million of them here, but somebody asked me one time, said, how can you do that for 2 hours without really doing all kinds? I do preparation. Don't think I don't. But how come? I said, because when you get this old, you got all kinds of stories. Your memories are there. You've got a lot of things. So that's a good thing about it. Yes, Mr. Neely. And by the way, Mr. Neely told me the other day that his political days are done. So what we need is for other good young people, not too young, but good young people who understand what their job is and is going to take the oath of office and do it correctly instead of saying whatever. How am I these days? I'm disappointed. I am. I'm disappointed that and I will. It's going to get better. I know it will, but you got to understand. I'm one of these people. What was I called? One of my ex-workers called me that. The slave driver. I'm a slave driver because of the fact that I always think if I can do it, you can at least do something close to it. You don't have to do as much as me, but at least do something. And when people don't do it, I am a slave driver. I'll be the first to tell you. I am a slave, and I'm never going to change that because I'm proud of that. If people don't go out and do things, Donnie here, you put up a lot of signs, didn't you? Just like Charlie did. Keith put up a lot of signs. I put up a lot of signs. I'm not a young man. And I'm out there pounding posts and doing all that stuff. And we didn't, the thing is, we had our own organization. There's only so much we could do. It wasn't big. It was small. But if we had real Republicans where we had hundreds of thousands of people or millions of people in, or even thousands, doesn't make a difference. If we did that, we would have a different governor today. There's no doubt about we'd have it. But when people sit on their asses and do nothing, and they complain about, oh, I can't believe Parsons doing this, or they even say good things about him when they don't know what the hell they're talking about, that's always something that drives me crazy. I love it when somebody tells me something good about somebody and it's dead wrong and they don't even know it. Well, he did this and he did that. My favorite one with our governor today was when he was running. That's when the McCloskeys came out and tried to protect their own property. And instead of sending troops there to help him, he could have sent the National Guard there. Instead of doing that, he sat on his butt, did nothing. But he said, well, if they go and prosecute him, I'll pardon him. Wow, what a hero. And some people thought that was a hero. I know you're not giving up. Some of us aren't giving up. Look, you are not a hero when you sit on your butt and do nothing. That's not a hero to me. Hey, your house is on fire. Let me know when it's done. I'll call the fire department in a little bit. Your daughter's being molested. Well, let's call somebody and see if they can fix it for us. See if they can take care of it for us. Because really, I've said this many times, our country is being molested. You're right. You talk about someone that's going to be a superstar. Kristi Noem. Oh, yeah, Kristi Noem. If you're not familiar with her, folks, she's from South Dakota. And she said, we're not going to do any shutdowns here. We're not going to do any mass mandates. Yeah, he should have stopped before it started. You're right. But he didn't. Doc Neely, when I talked to him about this, not to bring up old stuff, but I asked him about this. He said, I'd probably gone there and found out what the hell they were doing, what they were talking about. You don't make decisions unless you find out what the hell they're talking about, and he didn't. What he did is he got recommendations, from Democrats. I remember when they shut the state down. Are you kidding? Yeah, there you go. House is on fire. You got any marshmallows? That's where we are today with conservatives. Yes, the house is on fire, and they're going, yeah, you got any marshmallows? That's a good one. I like that, Carl. Carl's on a different platform. He's in MeWe. Yes, we do MeWe. God, if I did every platform, I'd go crazy. But I'm trying my best to do what I can. There's a lot of preparation. We do all these platforms. There just is. And I get a lot more comments than you see there. There's a lot more viewing than you see up there because that only shows the ones viewing on Facebook, but there's people viewing on other platforms and actually on the internet now. If you go to superdaveshow.com, I want to fix it up a little bit better, but if you go there, you will see a TV there. And if you click that right now, you'll be watching my show. In fact, I want to make sure it's working right. How's that? Let me see if it is. Let me see if it's working right. Got to make sure I got that down, and so I don't hear it, but just give me a second here. If I press that, it goes straight to D Live, and I'm going to turn it off because that takes up too much. But yes, it does work. So if you go to the website, you will see there. You'll see my picture there, and you click that, and you can watch it. Well, Facebook, by the way, for those of you that got to us late, you can now actually go to Facebook, Real Republicans. We have two different groups. We got the Real Republicans. That's because we got restricted on Real Republicans, but you go to either one. I try to go whatever I do on one, I do on the other. Well, I know you do, Doug. Look, but see, Doug, that's just it. It's the same old people. Linda, am I right? It's the same old people. It's the same old people all the time. And Linda and I talked about this. We're tired. Linda's been doing this for a long time too. And the thing is There are so many. This is what we all know. The ones that there are so many talented people out there that can do so many things, and they're choosing to sit by and let crooks do it. Why would anybody allow a criminal to run things? That's what I don't get. Why would anybody? Here's one for you. It happens in Republican districts too. This is where you people got to learn about Republicans. Why would anybody allow a county clerk to cheat on the voting in any county? Why? And if you think because they're Republican they won't do it, I got some oceanfront property in Kansas I would love to sell you. Our governor should be filing a suit against Biden like Texas. He's not going to file it. Our governor's weak. Governor Parson is one of the weakest Republican governors out there. And see, that's just it. He's a Republican, though. We got to vote for a Republican. That's all I got to hear. People don't do their research, and they vote for anybody, and that's it. And it's like, well, he's a Republican. That's all I care about. That's how lazy the conservatives are. That's the thing. This is why people get mad at me, and they turn off and say, how dare you talk about me like that? You know what? If you aren't that person, you should be smiling saying, you're right. There's a lot of them that don't. But the ones I really irritate the most, which I have to admit I love doing, I like to get to them. I want them to go home. I want them to turn around and get mad at themselves, go back and say, jerk's right, isn't he? And then come back with a vengeance, because I've had many people do that. And I'm not going to change my technique because I learned being nice doesn't work. Being nice to everybody. I'm nice to the people at work, and I'm not so nice to the ones that want to complain and have everybody else do it. And I don't feel bad about it. That's one thing about it. Hey, Charlie, if you're there, am I right about this? And actually, I talked to Keith about this. When you get to a certain age, you really don't give a damn as much as you used to. I mean, you care, but you don't care what other people think. Because if they're going to go ahead and be blockheaded, that's their problem. I can't worry about that. That's just it. My good friend who's listening right now, Alan, Dave, I just don't like the way you do it. I go, well, my way works and your way works. You take care of the people you got, I'll take care of the people I got. But I think the one thing that a lot of the women really like more than anything, because I do have a lot of women listeners and viewers. There not so many here today, but you know what I'm like? It's because they're tired of guys being wusses. They really are. They are really sick of it. They see the guys walking around and with their tail between their legs, and the only thing they could do, tough guys, say, yeah, they come to my house, I'll shoot them down. Let me tell you, as an ex-cop, if the sheriff's department or the police department want to come and get you, consider it done. I mean, don't think that you're going to outpower them. It's not going to happen. Oh, you may get a few, but you're going to go down. It's a losing proposition. So why not, instead of playing defense, because that's what you're doing, I want to play offense. And so instead of playing defense and thinking you're going to have a shootout with the police department, you're going to win, ha ha ha, why don't you join us and do it a different way, to where we put the pressure on them. I love putting the pressure on the enemy. That's what I love. And if you really love it, then you join us. That's how it works. That's how it works. I don't know. I'm just... Oh, Rand Paul spanks the Democrats who use violent rhetoric and whipped up mobs. I love Rand Paul. Rand Paul's one of the few out there that does speak. Women are very tough. You ever watch a girls' basketball game? Yeah, some of them. Yeah, some of those gals are pretty tough. Yeah, they're... I'll tell you what. It's interesting you should say that. When I used to coach baseball, my baseball players would walk by and see the girls playing fast-pitch softball. And they laughed at them. I said, boys, if I put you in that game, they would kick your ass. What? No, that wouldn't happen. I said, I'll bet you any kind of money that girl that's pitching that ball, almost every single one of you is going to miss it. Well, the ball's bigger. Well, we plan on having bumper stickers. But the ball's bigger. And I said, yeah, but they're 17 feet closer. And let me tell you something. That ball's coming to you faster than probably that baseball is that you're hitting. Because it does. And it gets there quicker. I used to play fast pitch softball when I was younger. And I batted against some of those gals, and they were good. So, this stuff where, guys think that women are weak. I find these days, I really do. Now, if you're not one of them, don't get all bent out of shape. But if you're one of those weak guys, one of those guys that are really strong, you don't have anything to worry about. But we have so many wusses out there that they need to grow a couple. Let's put it that way. And we have a lot of them in office, as we see. Yes, we have a lot of them in office. And that's our problem. And we need to get rid of those people. We need people with guts and balls. I'll say it. What the hell? A lot of these people know who I am anyway. I say things anyway. I liked it yesterday when Steve Martin said, Monday he said something else. By the way, I am going to do a show tomorrow since I missed yesterday. I will be doing one tomorrow. Your wife is not weak? Well, you know what? It's funny because when we've done the protest, it's those damn women that came out there and kicked some ass. I'm telling you what. I ask other guys, take this bullhorn from me. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Wow. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings here. But the women is like, give it to me. And they would go at it. Hell yeah, they go at it. When we went down to Channel 4, everybody stayed in their car. All the guys stayed in their car except for one. And that guy had MS. And he was with his wife, who gladly gets out there. And a few other women. And they were out there protesting Channel 4 because they were strong enough to do it. But the guys sat in the cars. Like, good God. Give those guys some baby clothes or something like that. I'm embarrassed by that. I really am. Guys, grow a couple. Really, grow a couple. They're afraid of being confrontational. In some of these school boards. Let me explain. This is politics. I always try to teach politics in the process. On the school boards, what they will say, and some of you people know this, is they'll have 7 people on the board, and they'll have a preliminary vote, 4-3. But they say, well, now we're going to leave here as we're in unison, so everybody has to vote with the 4. And one of the things I asked the 2 people who were helping on the school board, would you do that? And they go, hell no, I wouldn't do that. If you're against something, be against it. Who cares what anybody else thinks? No, I stood up for it. But there was a gentleman I know real well, and he told me about that. He said, well, we do that because we don't want any problems with media. If I'm voting against something, I want the media to know about it. I want the media to know why the other, if I'm say it's 6-1, I don't care. I really don't care. I'm going to say, I don't understand why they want to have a tax increase when we just had one, and what do they do with it? They wasted that money. So I didn't think there should be another one. That's not what they do. Now, Carl, would you consider me... Would you people consider me confrontational? Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. I go to some of the Republican Club meetings or some of those. The last person they want to see, and I'm not trying to be confrontational. I'm trying to make things right because people are afraid to be confrontational. I don't get that. You don't have to be confrontational every time, but I don't understand why people don't stand up for themselves. I don't get it. Yes, they need their mommy. That's right. It's a good thing I don't correct all the spelling mistakes up there. Roku has a blackout with channel... What? Is that supposed to be channel 4? I don't even know what... Well, you're in a different area. Channel 4 is different for different areas. By the way, how many of you people have used antenna television? I got to ask you this question. Where you got the antenna on the house or on your TV or something like that. How many of you people actually use that? I have to ask that question because Most people don't even realize the amount of channels they have when they use that. And honestly, I hardly watch anything else. You can, and if you have a way of streaming, in fact, that would help some people here. You do not have to have. You need to have one. You need to put one in your TV. Now, it depends where you live to, but you put one on your TV, you will come up with a whole bunch of channels. Now, I live in the St. Louis area. I'm a little farther out. I'm not in St. Louis City or county, but we're in the next county, Jefferson County. And you go off internet. That's just it. There's a lot of things you could do. This is not here to tell you what you got to do, but I'm telling you, you know what? There's hardly a channel on regular network TV I watch. And you go, yeah, me too. That's why I have the other channels. No, I don't even think people realize it. Do you realize that most of these channels have, like, say you have a Fox affiliate there in St. Louis's channel 2. There's 4 channels, 4 or 5, I forget how many, 4 or 5 channels for them. There are 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, and 2.4. And there could be a 2.5 for I don't remember. Channel 4, same way. They've got all these other channels, and there's everything on it. That's what I do. And if you stream things, you can get Newsmax free. You can get OAN. It costs you $5 a month. Hey, no problem. But you get all those things free. You don't have to get all the garbage that they have on there. I don't like. My least favorite show I've ever watched is paid programming. That's the most popular show on television, paid programming. Isn't it great? They got commercials. Remember the old days? They used to limit. They said, well, you can only have, what was it, 6 minutes of commercials or something like that in a half an hour. I think that's what it was. I don't remember exactly. But they only have so much. And they would that's all you could do. Now, it's like half the damn, you'll have like a 5-minute commercial on a regular show. Or you'll have, or you have paid programming. I mean, if I want to, I guess if you want to buy a vacuum cleaner, go on here, look at, I don't really care. Doesn't matter. But they're pounding this. How many times you ever watch an Andy Griffith show and you know there's probably 10% of it out of there. They don't even include it. At least. We do antenna and streaming. That's what you should do. That really is what you should do. So, and I actually use something called Sling TV, which has most of the other stations I may want, and that's it. But I actually use that with my Roku, and I have all kinds of channels. So, but I probably got 100 channels, and I do pay for Sling, but I pay for Sling for other purposes. That's it. But look, I didn't mean to go off on that, but I was just curious because you know why I say that? Because people don't even bother to find out what else is out there. Yeah. Look, you don't even bother to find who the candidates are. There's all these people running for school board, and I'll go through it. But one of the people was an ex-superintendent. He wants to go back. He wants to be in control of that school board now. And I guarantee he wasn't there for the right reasons. That's what we get. But, we've got to do our homework. And one of the reasons we have rural Republicans, by the way, is so you can go to what we will eventually have. We will have our own streaming places and stuff like that. We'll have our own newsletters, kind of online newsletters, because we want people to know what's going on. If you don't know who to vote for, we want you to know. And we're going to help you with that. We're going to give the history of the people we know, and if they don't tell us, then we don't know their history. And here's something else I want to teach you guys. If you're running for office, you're going for 2 votes. If you're a Republican, you're going for the people to vote Republican. If you're a Republican, you're going for the people that are independents. You shouldn't give a damn about the Democrats. They're not going to vote for you. Why waste your time? We went through that the other day. It's like, well, I'm thinking about, don't do it. They don't care about you. They're going to say something bad about you either way. Just like the media. If the media interviews you, tell them to go take a hike. And I don't know if Chuck is listening, but Chuck Dodson did the best thing. I was so proud of Chuck. Thank you, Chuck, for taking my advice. He said, do we have anybody capable? This is after the buses got back from D.C., after we destroyed our capital. Whatever. Didn't happen. But anyway, when they got back from D.C., he called me, and we drove there. But so we were not with him. But he called me. He said, do we have anybody articulate you think of on one of the buses that can speak to the media? And I thought about it, and I said, yeah, tell them to go away. Because it doesn't make a damn bit of difference what they say. They're going to report what they want. That's what the media does. That's what the media does. Hey, by the way, I talked about this story earlier about the gentleman that got the COVID vaccine and died. He's not the first. Are we going to have a list every day by the CDC of all the people that died from the vaccine? Or is it going to be said that, well, they actually had underlying conditions and that's why they died? Yeah, if you had COVID, you died of COVID. That was it. Didn't matter if you jumped off a building or got hit by a car. You had COVID. That's how they did it. But so everybody was getting COVID. It was it's a joke in my book. It really is. It's like, well, that person died. I go, obviously of COVID. Everybody's dying of COVID. It's the thing to do. But if you die of a COVID shot, let me see. Let's put that. That's what they'll end up doing. Let's put this on another list here. All the people died of a shot, and at the end of it says, blame Trump. Oh, well, good. See, that's why Pluto, Pluto cost you, doesn't it? I thought Pluto cost you. You know what? It's good you're saying this, because I know Newsmax is free. It streams, and OAN. I think OAN costs us $5 a month. I don't care. I'll support them. I don't mind I don't mind supporting. Everything doesn't have to be free. But you know who I don't want to support? I don't want to support the corporations that are screwing with our country. And everybody should buy pillows from MyPillow. People say, it's a little too much. You know what? The guy stood up for America. How many other people are doing it? But before you do that, make sure you come there. Pluto's free. See, I thought it was... Now, where I saw something else there, and I looked up Pluto, and it said it costs you so much a month or something like that. But I'm not saying you don't. No, watch free. I'll be darned. Did they change or what? That I didn't know that. It's free. Well, good. Thank you for telling me that. Seriously, you could. That's interesting. More than 3 million accounts from Pluto TV were compromised in 2018. Don't let that worry. Everybody's been compromised. Yeah, MyPillow guy. I give the guy, and what they do, they took him off of. Didn't they take him off Facebook too? They took him off Twitter and Facebook. And why? Because how dare he? How dare he? He was questioning the election. What's wrong with that man? Everybody knows that it was just a bunch of screaming babies that said that we lost. I mean, we shouldn't have lost. It's really interesting because when somebody tells me, well, every court in the land of the states that were complaining wouldn't even take it on, it had nothing to do with the fact that it was true or not. They just wouldn't take it on. They looked at no evidence. How do you like that? How would you like, let's say in America, well, same with Trump. How would you like in America that say you're accused of murder, and say your next door neighbor says, I know he shot him. I know he shot her or shot her. Let's do domestic disturbance here. I know he shot her. Okay, fine. Do you have any proof? We don't need proof. Let's just go ahead and do it because he looks like it. That's really what they did. Because I said it, it's good enough. I don't have to go on the stand. I said they shot her. That's it. We're done. Not knowing the rest of the stuff that's going on. How would you like that kind of trial? Really? How would you like that kind of trial? I wouldn't like it. And that's really where we are. The president is being impeached. Well, he's already been impeached twice. There you go, because that makes him feel good. He's not going to be guilty twice. I wonder how history is going to look at that. Depends who's writing history. But he's going to be impeached. I mean, not going to be found guilty twice. And what do we do with that? Really? There's nothing we can do with it because as far as I'm concerned, the media is always right. And they're not going to report the COVID. They're going to report the phony COVID deaths, but they're not going to report the COVID vaccine deaths. They're not going to report it. Or if they do, they're going to blame it on Trump. Maybe they should have waited another month. I'm stunned by the people on the left that say that Trump didn't do a damn thing for COVID. What are they? Question, election, human error, not old-fashioned cheating, election. Oh, does it make a difference? Foreign hacking? No, there was no foreign hacking. That was done by the conspiracy theorist on the right. We should know that. I don't believe it. I can't believe we don't know that. Oh, goodness gracious. I'll tell you what, folks. That's where we are these days. And for the life of me, if we can't even question, you know what that reminds me of? I'm going to go back to something I questioned back in 2000, in the early 2000s. And it was called 9/11. By the way, that thing I showed you earlier, if you weren't here, we had a woman run around asking these people what year was the War of 1812 fought and things like that, and they didn't know the answer. They didn't know how many wars there were, all this stuff. Well, anyway, one of the things they where was I going? Don't ever do that, Dave. Well, I forgot. I'll think of it later and tell you tomorrow. But or I may think while I'm talking about keeping fighting with. Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Donnie. Look, we all need to do this. This is not just me. I'll change the subject. Something I know what I'm doing. We all need to do it, and I'm happy to lead it. I'm happy to give it to somebody else. Let me tell you right now, folks. I am not necessarily the best one to have as a leader. Some people think so. That I don't care. I don't care about the accolades so much. What I care about are the people that want to join the Army. And if there's people out there later on that say, you know, Dave, I'm ready to take over, have at it. You probably do a better job. You're probably nicer than I am. But right now, I'm not very nice to a lot of people on purpose because I don't like having my vote stolen in my country. I don't like my election stolen. I don't like a media, and this is why Real Republican is so important. I don't like a media that only lies. Only lies. Oh, Fox News yesterday. I was listening to one of the radio stations in the area, and they had a Fox News. And this is what they said. I remember these words. How President Trump and his baseless evidence, or whatever the word was, but they used the word baseless. Like he was trying to like there was no basis for what the complaints were. You know, all the hacking, all the stuff that went on, there was no base for that. I mean, come on. It was a baseless claim. Baseless claims. That's what it was. His baseless claims. And they were saying that. I was like, it makes me so mad because they know better than that. And if they don't, they shouldn't be where they are. That's not baseless claims when you have God knows how many witnesses. How many witnesses there were. I'm with you, Linda. I don't like Republicans that didn't stand up for Trump and turned on him. Every single person that did that, and we're talking about early in the game. We're not talking about later on where they say, oh, well, we don't want to impeach the guy. No. Roy Blunt turned his back on the president a long time ago. That man has to be gone. But I'm telling you, friends, he's going to be there again if he doesn't retire. He's going to be there again, or it's going to be a Democrat. If you don't get off your dead asses and get involved with real Republicans or something, it really is. And I'm not joking. And people may think I'm joking because right now you say, oh, well, we got till next year. No, we don't. We're near the end of January. Anybody that runs for senator next year probably needs to start within the next 3 or 4 months to get their name out there. But they can't do it. And the people that we have running generally are either plants by the Blunt people, which what a plant is, in case you don't know, is somebody they put in there to take votes away from somebody else. Because you're always going to find the certified Republican idiots. They're going to vote for the establishment choice no matter what. The establishment has that there. That's it. I saw that. Blunt was standing holding hands with a pedophile at inauguration. I mean, just what this man has done. Tomorrow I'm going to try to remember to bring all the negative things he's done. By the way, you can't say China virus. He actually signed an executive order. You can't say China virus. Well, my God, it came from China. Everything else, he's working with China. I can't imagine where it came from. Maybe Hunter gave him that idea. Oh, I'm telling you what. This is sad. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I do have other things I do. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, all that good stuff. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Go to realrepublicans.net. Got that? .net. Let me see. .net. How can I think net? Net like we're going to catch you. We're all going to be in the same net. How's that? We're all going to be in the same place. How's that? There you go. China virus, China virus, China. I'm just reading what she said. That's all. So, all right, everybody. I will be back tomorrow. And thank you for listening. And you have a good day.
You can't quit. And why not? I got fired. You can't fire me. Why not? He quit. Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
German? Forget it, he's over.
It ain't over now. Because when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Who's with me? Let's go! Come on! Thanks. I needed that.